Good afternoon. Career of Cameron Mitchell is called dish room to boardroom story. Because he started as a dishwasher at a local restaurant when he was a junior in high school. A few years later, working as a line cook. Okay, sorry. I'm a loudmouth. I didn't think I'd keep that. He late one night after the shift, he woke his mother up to review the notes he had taken on his new career. He must have been persuasive because his family supported his attending Culinary Institute of America, CIA, as they call it, which is located north of New York City in the Hudson Valley on Route 29, which I think explains why he has two restaurants in the neighborhood called Hudson 29. He's very loyal to that school, which you might call the West Point of restaurant management. He started his professional career with a 55 restaurant group, where he rose to direct operations of the 6-unit business. As he described it, the corporate ladder ran out of rungs, and he wanted to start his own business. And that business was called, strangely enough, Cameron's. It was a bistro in the northwest corner of the county. He grew that business pretty substantially and grew it to 33 units in 9 states. And then he saw a chance to monetize the business. And he sold 2 concepts, the fish market and the steakhouse, and collected a boatload of money to continue. So now he has 49 restaurants, 21 different concepts, located in 15 states plus the District of Columbia. In addition to those things, he has a catering business, and then he has what he calls a chef incubator in the Bud Dairy Food Hall near North Side. A few years ago, he published a book with an intriguing title. Yes is the answer, when was the question? The book is listed in Forbes' list of the 12 best business memoirs of all time. Like everybody in the hospitality business, this business suffered in the pandemic, but they survived it. And he was very active in securing the government help that was available for all businesses. In community and charitable activities, Cameron stands out. He was a 2-year term as a chairman of the board of trustees at CIA, Culinary Institute, and he was the first alumnus to ever hold that position. He's been active in Columbus as well. Many of you know about Mitchell Hall, which bears his name, and I think he has endowed the whole program at Columbus State Community College. He's involved in some things that Rotary is involved in also. The sponsorship of 2 culinary students at Rotary's Career Path program. Jenny James, his community engagement director, is visiting today. Is Jenny here? Yes, please greet Jenny after the meeting, and thank you for being here. I mean, many of you have heard Cameron speak before, but one of the things that I think stands out is that he says he does not want to run his restaurants on Thanksgiving or Christmas or major holidays, because he doesn't want to work on those days and he doesn't want to ask his employees to do so. Please welcome Cameron Mitchell. Thank you.
Well, many of you are like me, when Ken calls, you gotta say yes. So here I go. I can't really speak to these people again. It's like my 5th time. I'm gonna bore them to death. So I said, no, come on down. I said, okay. So I was gonna, and I could do this a couple different ways. I was gonna, could tell my usual story, but I feel like everybody's kind of got that now. But we can also just have a discussion and dialogue about the restaurant business. You know, I've never had that run short of questions, you know, anytime I speak to a group, it's usually we got, all right, time for one more question, we can do that, but, it's up to you, what you want to do here, but again, thank you for that wonderful introduction, and, yes, we survived COVID, I wasn't sure we were gonna survive COVID at that point, but, I'll tell a story about that, I had, our bank, this was March 3rd, I'll never forget the date, March 3rd of 2020. And I have an annual bank meeting in early, you know, after we complete our audits, you know, end of the year stuff. And, you know, I lay out the forecast for the year and recap the previous year, et cetera. I think we're off to a great start in 2020. I go January and February, we just closed out February. I said, it's gonna be an awesome year, laid out our plans. As long as this COVID thing does not materialize into anything. So, never seen like it. 17 days later, we shut down the entire company. We had 4,500 people. We laid off all 4,500, but 10 of us kept working in the home office to immediately try to save the company. And I can tell you, on March 31st, we had our principal payment due and our interest payment with our bank. And we couldn't go in default, and they would call it trigger all sorts of things. And so within 10 days, we had a new banking agreement arranged with our bank. They agreed to suspend interest payments, principal payments for a year. They took 5% of equity in the company for that, in exchange for that, but also agreed to extend us a line of credit on top of that, additional line of credit, and help us get through COVID. They were terrific at the end of the day. Cost me some money in equity, but on the same token, it could have been a lot worse. And so that was the beginning. We had to renegotiate all of our leases, and then, as Ken mentioned, I became very active on the national landscape to help with PPP. PPP saved us. It did exactly its job. We know some people took advantage of it and so forth, but in our case, it was just the perfect medicine for us to get us through and help us live to fight another day. And so we got that done. I ended up on CNBC and Fox and CNN about 3 dozen times since then, since the pandemic, helping represent our industry, represent particularly the smaller independents in our industry that don't have the bandwidth. We had one of the things we did, which I'm really proud of, and we're active with the Ohio Restaurant Association, and we had 10 people in our COVID task force that worked 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week on just managing all of our COVID issues. We worked with the Cleveland Clinic, created all of our COVID protocols. We spent a couple $1 million on COVID protection within our restaurants and so forth. And it was overwhelming, you know. And those 10 people, very, very overwhelming. And I said, you know, if you're an independent operator, I got one restaurant, how am I even dealing with all this? There's just no way. And so we hosted multiple seminars with the Ohio Restaurant Association to share all of our COVID protocols, everything we've done, learned, and how we reacted, and so forth with our membership, a lot of our membership out there in the state. So I'm a firm believer in all boats rise and helping take care of our brethren. So anyways, you know, Columbus, I've been blessed that Columbus is my home. I grew up here in Arlington, in the Have-Not section over there. And you know, troubled youth, runaway high school dropout, and so forth. But, you know, I love Arlington. And coming back to Arlington, I've raised my family in Arlington, my kids, and now I'm a proud member of that community and equally proud member of the Columbus community. I love, everybody knows I love this community. I want to do everything I can to help move it forward and move this, you know, our community forward, our industry forward, and certainly young people in this community forward. So anyways, a little bit about our company, update on our company. You know, we have, I think we're in 15 states now. We have a little under 6,000 associates at the end of this year. We call them about 115 in our home office. We crossed over the 500 million mark in revenue this year. We have 9 restaurants opening here between now and the end of next year. We're starting with our new steakhouse downtown called Butcher and Rose on Broad Street, which will open up here in June. We're doing a new Del Mar in July in Easton. We changed the name of Del Mar down in the shore north. We have Del Mar in Naples, and that's a kind of a fine dining Mediterranean concept, and that's what Del Mar Easton is going to be, where Bon V was. And so I always knew I would change, I like the name Del Mar so much, that's why I took it for Naples, knowing that I come back, if it worked well, I come back and change the name downtown, so that's kind of how that went. So anyways, that's why. And then another Cap City in Cincinnati, over at the University of Cincinnati, right in that area down there. And then this fall, November, Ocean Prime in Sarasota, Florida, which I have a second home in Sarasota. I've been down there 19 years, and I've always wanted to be there. And so I would only go to a restaurant here, and here it came available, and here we are. So opening up here in November. So then in February next year, we're doing Ocean Prime in Fort Lauderdale, brand new marina on New York Coastal in Fort Lauderdale. I'm super excited about that project. And then we have a new Ocean Prime in Nashville, opening up in June of next year. And then we have another Del Mar opening up in West Palm Beach in October of next year. We also have two more, I forgot, a private club we're opening up down in Naples, Florida, on Fifth Avenue, called Prime Social Reserve. That'll open about a year from today. And then we are doing a new concept in Detroit, which is our second home market. I built 10 restaurants in Detroit, in Birmingham, Michigan. And this will be called Big Rock Italian Top House. It was a iconic restaurant that failed, ran 30 years, didn't reopen after the pandemic, and we're giving it a whole other rebirth. So we're very excited about what's going on in the company and moving forward. I'm living my dream in the restaurant business, and I love what I do. I've lied to my wife for 28 years. I'm going to work. And she hasn't caught me yet, so that's okay. So yeah, it's all good, but I thought we really want to talk about the restaurant industry. We closed Cento last night, or Sunday night. I don't know if people know that or not.
Not Cento.
Huh?
Not Cento.
Or not Cento, I'm sorry. Sorry, we're just talking about Cento, sorry. El Segundo. And no, we're not closing Cento. So just spent a lot of money on that one. So anyways, I tell people like, how much did you do that? Well, listen, not all of them, we're not gonna hit home runs every single time, And that particular site has, it's difficult, it's in line, it kind of disappears and, down there, our restaurants in the short north are doing very well. It just, its ranch was about 260 grand a year. And yet we're on track to lose about 160 grand on top of that this year. So 420,000. And, we're not really in business to lose money. It's not part of our DNA. And so, it's not an emotional issue. And the only way we can get rid of the rent is if we close and lease it to somebody else. We got to close first so we can lease it to someone else to get rid of that rent. But at least we got rid of the 160 grand we're going to lose this year. So, and we need the people on top of that. So, and they've all been dispatched around the company. So it happens. And we opened Cento, which we talked about as our 100th restaurant we've opened since we started. That's the name. Cento in Italian is 100. And we have 64 open restaurants today. And now we have 63. But that won't last long. But so I tell people we had 100 restaurants and we closed 14 since we started. Now 15 since we started. We sold 22 to Ruth Chris Steakhouse in 2008, as Ken mentioned, and we have 63 today with another 9 underway coming up here over the next 18 to 20 months. So we're busy and we're alive. We survived COVID. I wasn't sure we would do that. Scared the crap out of me, but we did it. And I went to work with my brown paper bag and my lunch sack. Literally the next day, Monday, after we closed, made my lunch every day, and we made it through and somehow, some way. So anyways, that's it. And then we're supposed to get into some question and answer discussion. And I love Rotary, by the way. Such a great organization. So, yeah. That we have top three performers? That's a good question. So I'll use that question to brag a little bit. So, you look at the top 100 independent restaurants in the United States, they all do over minimum, like the lowest ones like 15, 16 million bucks a year, but about 30 or 40 of them do over $20 million a year. When Fort Lauderdale opens, we think we'll have 5 of our 20 Ocean Primes do over $20 million a year, which is unbelievable. It's one of the highest averaging volume brands in the country, in the United States, top 5. And so our number one is Tampa. Tampa did over 23 million last year. Ocean Prime, which for a restaurant is absolutely huge. We opened up Cap City Grandview in 1995. We were doing 70,000 bucks a week, 3.6 million. I was ecstatic. We opened up the fish market, a steakhouse in 98. We were doing 100 grand a week, 105 grand. I was ecstatic. Oh my God, $5 million restaurant. To have a restaurant doing $23 million in revenue is unheard of, unbelievable. To have a restaurant over $20 million, I never dreamed, ever dreamed we'd have a restaurant over $20 million. Now we're gonna have 5 of them here when Fort Lauderdale opens out of 20 of that brand. So, Boston was number 2, did 21.5 last year. New York, number 3 did 20. We just opened Las Vegas this summer. That was our busiest restaurant last week in the company, and did 570,000 last week. And we're expecting now to do about 26 million. And we expect North Fort Lauderdale will be over 20 million. So those are also all my favorite restaurants too, by the way. Yeah.
On a micro level, what is it that you see in the whole industry, and you're a leader in the industry, as a result of COVID, what things are different? What things have to happen or are happening, and how do you deal with them?
Well, great question. I haven't asked that question yet. So there are a number of things that are different, obviously, like every other industry. Our office, I got to explain to people, when we walk around and see all the empty desks in our office, people do work here. It is their desk. They're just working from home today. So there's that issue. There is, coming out of COVID, I had no idea it was going to be so difficult. I mean, it was difficult to survive. I thought, oh my God, we're going to get out of it. It's going to be great. We're back to normal. No, that's not the case. And so business lunch is half of what it used to be. You go to an urban area like New York, or New York used to be people hanging from the rafters at lunch, and happy hour, hanging from the rafters at happy hour. And today, lunch on Monday and Friday, 30%, 40% of what we used to do, happy hours, still full Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but nothing on Monday and Friday. It goes down. So there's some of that. The particular toughest thing for us is we didn't spend a dime on security in our restaurants prior to COVID, and we spent about $750,000 today on security, just like you see in the airlines. Violent passengers. We have violent guests. My son, who is a manager for us in New York City, was attacked by a guest, punched and kicked to the floor in the bar, on a Monday night. So we didn't have security Monday night. We had Tuesday through Saturday, so now we have security 7 days a week up there. So it is that kind of thing, that hostility of people just are not. It's that genuine, we see it everywhere. It's the underlying tension and stress that's out there. So we just kind of do our best to combat it and support our people. So those are some of the changes. Yes, ma'am, we have back there and we'll work our way back around. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So I had brunch in Albany on 29 on Sunday, and then I had drinks on next Tuesday. I had the 29 at Arlington. Much smaller venue. Tell us what's happening with the menu.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hudson 29 is a great brand. We love it, but we think we can build it in, bedroom communities and affluent communities around the country. And, it is, just not quite there yet. And I'll just tell you, it's driven by me, because I go there quite a bit in Arlington, I live in Arlington, and it was time for it to change and time for it to evolve, and it's not quite the level of accountability that we want for it, especially to consider national expansion or growth of it. So, we've embarked on trying to redo the menu a little bit, to refine the menu a little bit, for several reasons, for an eye on profitability, B, to enhance guest experience and guest desire to therefore increase sales and so forth. So we knew all we will change eventually, but it's harder for me to get up, it's easier to be here and see it. So I was just there at your lunch on Sunday, like this and stuff. But anyways, it's coming to you, theater. Yes, we're working. Yes, yes, we, yes.
Love you to share a case example of some of your rising stars in pathways.
Sure.
What are our?
Sure. Yeah, one of my all-time favorites is our executive chef at our flagship restaurant in Las Vegas, who has been with us, started as a dishwasher at Cameron's of Bexley in 1994. Couldn't speak a lick of English, was an illegal alien, came over here, left, went back to Mexico, came back again, came back to work with us a year later or something, had changed his name because his papers changed, so has worked with us though, and wanted to learn how to cook so he could learn English. And so he worked really hard. He got over on the line in the kitchen, and we, gave more and more and more. And today he's our senior executive chef of our busiest property in the country. And he's a role model. We've done many videos with him. He's our poster child for all of our Latino associates, because I want them to rise into management and leadership. And so we're trying to use him and a couple of others in the organization to help move that group of people forward within our organization. So, yeah.
I'm gonna give Cameron a sideways compliment, and I'm sure a large portion of this also goes to his wife. But as you all know, I work in the film industry here, and his son Ross is working on a film that I'm a part of. And he is an exceptional young man. And I think for someone who is as busy as you are with what you do, the fact that you have kids that are so wonderful, I applaud that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, definitely a sideways comment to me. To my wife, it's exactly why they are there. So, no, I get it. It's perfect. Yes.
Today's Wall Street Journal had an article regarding restaurants not wanting to take reservations for parties of 6 or 8. Any comment on that from your
Yeah.
perspective?
This is a little bit of a delicate subject, but on the weekends, in particular, urban areas, on Friday and Saturday nights, we would get these large parties. People would want to book a reservation at 10 o'clock, party of 16, party of 10, whatever, and they wouldn't come. They'd stagger in over the course of an hour. Half the party would show up. We would pay the bill. Half the party credit card didn't work, and it was just a nightmare. Or they wouldn't tip our servers, and it was terrible. And so we can't say, we can't stand at the door and say we don't want you here. We would like you here, and so forth. Then we can't do that. And so what we simply said was we took no parties over 9 and after 9, and we closed early. We closed an hour early, 10 o'clock, to try to prevent all that from happening. And it's been very effective, but it's just a policy that nobody thinks of it negatively. It doesn't affect anybody other than it prevents that from happening within our organization. It helps our people. And so, if our company, our people come first. And so we can't, even if we would do more revenue, we just weren't going to do that at the sacrifice of our people. Cycle close, like major holidays, I could do millions of dollars in sales, another couple million in profit. If we were open holidays, I just don't want to do it. So that's part of the reasoning behind it. It may be different for other companies, I don't know why, you know, there are parties of 8, 10, 12, 16. We just don't take them after 9 on Friday and Saturdays is our policy. Just,
Talk about corporate policy regarding compensation and ownership relative to your top 5 stores doing over 20 million. Are these guys gonna attempt to muscle you into some kind of an ownership situation?
No.
It's all gonna be.
No, it would-
Compensation then?
they would lose terribly. So, no, so many times in my career, I find myself on one end of the football field and my fellow restaurant brethren on the other end of the football field. I'm down there by myself looking over there. What are you guys doing? You know, one of those issues in particular is bonus programs. We do not pay bonus programs. I do not have anybody on bonus. I don't believe it. I believe you treat people, like a horse, you know, or a dog. Here's a carrot, you do this, I'll pay you that. If this happens, you know, well, I've worked with bonus programs. They've never been motivating to me. I want to work hard because I want to do a great job, you know, I want to rise in my career, et cetera. They've only been demotivating. So, we share, I share quite a bit. We have 8% of our company is owned by Phantom stock from our people. When we sold for 92 million to Ruth Chris, I gave 5% to the management team, you know, of that. And then I did a special gift on top of that for every single one of our senior leaders, you know, because monetarily it wasn't enough. Taking our entire executive team, 28 people and spouses, to Africa this summer, because I loved Africa so much. I went to 16, I've always wanted to take our team, so I turned 60 this year, so thanking them for all their hard work to get us to where we are and so forth. I gave our senior leadership team and our director team, you know, $2.5 million bonus for our 25th anniversary. We do debt recaps where I distribute, you know, 5 million leadership team or 3 million leadership team. I do it all the time. And so, but more importantly, we have people like Chuck Klein, our senior vice president of operations, started a sous chef with $30,000 a year in 1994. And you think he makes $500,000 a day. So I tell people all the time, you just look to the right, look to your left in our company, you'll see a success story there. You walk around our office, 15 years, 20 years, 24 years, everybody, the tenure, you know, we're one of those organizations where you're here for a year or 3 months or 4 months, or you're here for a lifetime. That's really kind of ironic, but hundreds of CMR marriages, hundreds of CMR babies, you know, and so, yeah, we don't really find any pressure to that. And I pride myself in people, no one's really ever asked me for a raise. So.
We have to cut short, but thank you so much.
I told you, we had to cut short. Thanks, Karen, for inviting me, appreciate it. Now, don't you have to pass a hat and pay a buck fine and all that stuff?
Well, I mean, well, we do, it's Happy Bucks. Are you?
Well, here's a happy buck. I gotta do my contribution, so thank you very much. Okay,
I got a story about it.
all right.
So he has it. I like it. I think he should come back and just come back for a Happy Bucks.